Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Carla's Corner. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you today about technology, more specifically mobile phones. I'm a bit revved up today and I do apologise. The reason is because I literally just got off the phone a few moments ago with our transport body. I don't know what to call it. Our transport body, basically like for our trains, buses, all of that, right? To ask the question for people who don't have the app to sign in, where we have to now because of this pandemic. Do you have a written register on the trains? The answer is no, they don't. Right? I went, oh, okay, thank you, and hung up. What the hell? Do people just assume that people have the smarts to have apps on their phone? Do they think that they have a mobile phone automatically? Like, I met a woman probably maybe 2 or 3 months ago now, an elderly lady. She's never owned a mobile phone in her life. Ever. Now, she obviously had someone that could drive her around, but what if she didn't? What if buses and trains and you know, that sort of transportation was all that she could rely on? What happens then? Do they not let her on to go where she needs to go? Does she then have to fork out more of probably money that she probably doesn't have a lot of on a taxi or an Uber? Or like, what do people seriously think happens? So I basically I'm a bit pissed off because it just shows, right? Number one, it shows the stupidity of people, that they would just automatically just assume, right, that people have mobile phones, that people have access to things like that, that people, especially elderly people, or even people with intellectual issues, right? Shall we say? I don't like using the word disability. I don't believe in it. But do they think that people like that can just automatically pull up an app on their phone? Not everybody also has a phone that has the internet. Which brings me to another point. How reliant are we on this thing now, right? There's an app for everything. Let me tell you some of the apps that I've got on here, and I can guarantee you nearly all of them I probably don't need. Let me have a look. I have Words with Friends, which is a game app. I have Twitch, so I can watch a friend of mine who lives in America. I have some social media like YouTube on there. I have the Bible. Do I really need the Bible on there? Probably not. Do I really need some social media on there? Probably not. Do I need Words with Friends on there? Probably not. Do I need Twitch? No, not really. I have my Fitbit app. That's probably needed because I do use that. I have a crosswords. Do I need that? Probably not. I prefer doing actual crosswords in a book. I have an app for Wish. I don't know if a lot of my American friends know what that is. I have, what else do I have? An app for work. I have all these things on here. Do I need them? No. Do I need the internet? No. But I have it because it's built in to this thing, right? That's where my sticker was, by the way. It's cool, right? So, do I need it? No. So, my point is this, right? I didn't go through all the apps on my phone because there are some that I would rather not mention. But I don't need it. It's there because it's what society has told us we need, right? What did we do before mobile phones, people? Tell me, what did we do before mobile phones? I'll tell you what we did before mobile phones. If somebody rang us and we weren't home, they tried again. It's that simple. If we had an answering machine, they left a message. That's simple. And then we would get back to them. They would come around and see us, right? Don't get me wrong. I have social media. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not that, you know, I'm not saying that, like, oh, these people, blah, 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 right? I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that we have become so reliant on the technology. And speaking of the technology, I remember having my first mobile phone. It was a brick phone. It was heavy. It was bulky. And I don't even remember if it made text messages. What I remember is I made phone calls, right? I made phone calls. I took it with me when I would go out. Other than that, that's it. Because if I was at home, people knew how to reach me, right? I can remember my grandparents' phone numbers, my dad's work number when he used to own his business and was still with us. I cannot for the life of me remember my childhood phone number. Do you know why? Because technology has dumbed me down. I've thought about deactivating my social media. A number of times. And the reason being is most people who I've met through social media, and I'm talking people I have either video called so I know who they are, they've met my mum, they've met my husband via those calls, that I've written to, gotten letters from, that have not only my address, they have my phone number. They know how to reach me. So why do I still have it? I have friends from high school that I have not been able to catch up with for so long, and It's ridiculous. A friend of mine who I used to go to school with, I can message on social media and he'll tell me when his radio show's online, like when it's up. I go into the app to listen to the radio. Why? Because it's an American-based station. Don't get me wrong, I love supporting him by tuning in. I mean, it's voluntary, he does it voluntarily. But why? I would rather turn on the radio and hear him through speakers. I can remember when I had my brick phone, thinking I was the coolest thing, right? I'll be honest, I regret it because it has turned me on to a path where anytime I hear that noise, I have to check my phone. Anytime I hear it, because then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, who's talking to me? Is it important? A lot of the time when I go for my walks, I leave it at home. If I need to go down to the shop, I don't take it with me. If I need to sign in and I don't have this little beauty here, which is my Fitbit, which tells me the time and it also tells me the date along with how many steps I've done. But if I don't have that on, I simply ask. I take a pen with me, and if I don't take a pen with me, then I use theirs. Now, which brings me to another point about mobile phones. Why? Why apps? Oh, well, they make life easier, I hear you say. Okay, yeah. I can see from a lot of other people's point of view that it would be easier. Right? I mean, it has made putting petrol in the car a lot easier. Right? Here's the thing. We don't need them. We have pad and pen. What happens if the app crashes to sign in? What happens if you put your phone on charge and a big storm rolls through? Or there's a fire and it knocks out all the power? Right? And you're left without power for days. Which means that your phone goes flat. What then? Pad and pen, I hear you say. So then it's like, why don't we just go back to pad and pen only? We need to save the trees, I hear you say. Okay. True. I'm a big advocate for saving nature. Love the idea of that. But here's another thing. If we're to save the trees, why do we make that something that we don't think of when we bulldoze the ever-loving crap out of them to make massive big houses with massive big backyards, or even worse, small houses so closely built together with tiny little backyards and front yards? Why? I'll tell you why. Because we are morons. We are obsessed with technology, with progress. We don't comprehend that there are sustainable ways of doing things because we have the likes of the government and departments and these creators whose minds, I must stress, are amazing to come up with apps. I'm not clever enough to come up with an app, but if I could come up with an app, it would be an app that basically wipes all the other apps out and tells you Get off this thing, go take a walk, contact your friends on your landline, go for lunch somewhere, do something, right? So that's what it would be. So here's the thing, right? If we were smarter and we realized, oh shit, yeah, no, we don't have to cut down hundreds and hundreds of trees to make nice houses. We don't have to cut down hundreds and hundreds of trees to make big backyards, small backyards. Hell, we don't even have to cut hundreds and hundreds of trees down for paper. If you think about it, the amount of paper that's already out in the world, if you recycled that and turned it, I've literally made paper out of newspapers that you can write on, literally. Why not do that? Why not do that? Have people return things like newspapers, anything like that, anything made of paper. Put it into a big bin or whatever it is at a station where it literally gets turned back into paper, printable paper, to be reused. Why? I mean, they do it with bags. You see it all the time. This is made out of 100% recyclable paper. See? Even my cat agrees. Say hello, Suki. See? So here's the thing, right? To me, it makes zero sense. If I didn't need my phone for work, I would probably not have one. And to be honest with you, I'm seriously considering downgrading my phone. I'm not even kidding you. I am 100% serious on getting a phone that is just simply for phone calls and text messages and doesn't have the internet. Mwah, beautiful girl. Doesn't have the internet, doesn't have apps. All it is used for is making phone calls and text messages. And these phones, by the way, that I'm talking about are like phones where you have to press the letters 10 million times before you can get one word done, right? My grandparents had a very, very old phone right up until they had to change, and they got by without the internet. Nan and Granddad had the internet in the end because I think they needed to keep up with family who were not here. But I think if the family understood that, you know, letters and photographs and phone calls were probably the way to go, I think that they could have done without it. I think Nana especially probably would have been a bit more happy not having to worry about how to work an iPad, you know. The amount of times that I would have to go around and show her how to send a message. But that's my point. We are so dumbed down by technology. So to me, why aren't people doing more things like making it easier for people who may not have a mobile phone, who may not have the app, who may have a mobile phone that doesn't have the internet? Why are they making it harder? I don't get it. All I know is that, to be honest with you, the old technology worked a shit ton better. Now, I get it. Apps make everything easy. And the government's probably like, well, it'll make it easier on the contact tracers. then why have a written register in the first place? Oh, to stop people who don't have the app or a mobile phone without the internet from being left out. See my point, people? Really? We don't need mobile phones. We really don't. I would love it if we went back to the days of old where mobile phones didn't have the internet, they were simple to use, and we used them if we went out somewhere. Or even better, I would love it if we went back to the days where we didn't have mobile phones. I truly believe that was a better time. Anyway, you guys, I'm gonna go because it looks like little Miss here is wanting some attention. But thank you for listening to me rant and rave. I appreciate that. Tell me below in the comments what you think. Should we go back to a time either when mobile phones were not a thing or when they were a bit more simpler and not so advanced? Also tell me, what are your thoughts on this? Do you feel that technology has dumbed us all down to a degree? Do you think we should go back to writing letters, having landlines be the main source of communication? Should we have social media? Now, here's the thing with that last question. I have social media, like YouTube, and I've met some brilliant people on there. Absolutely marvelous people. But I've met marvelous people in person too. So I don't know. Is it something that we as a race need, or is it hindering our growth, hindering our minds, hindering our health? Let me know what you think. Bye, guys.